Lewis Hamilton drove the equivalent of Paris to Berlin in 2 days. And Ferrari told everyone it was just a tyre test. It wasn't. Let's set the scene. Formula One is on its April break. Most teams are either in the factory or doing quiet simulator work. And then Ferrari quietly books 2 full days at Fiorano, their private circuit, and puts Lewis Hamilton in the SF26 on a soaked track, 297 laps, 884 kilometers, 3 full race distances. That's not a tyre test, that's a mission. Now, on the surface, it looked routine. Pirelli needed wet weather data. Ferrari had the car and the track. Hamilton was the driver. Nothing to see here. But here's where things get interesting. Fred Vasseur, Ferrari's team principal, wasn't watching from the motorhome. He wasn't on a call. He was physically standing in the garage for both days. Team principals don't do that for tyre suppliers. And Charles Leclerc, Ferrari's #1 driver, currently 3rd in the championship, he wasn't anywhere near the car. He was in the simulator, in technical meetings. 2 drivers. 2 completely different jobs. 1 carefully coordinated plan. So what was Ferrari actually doing? Here's the thing about Pirelli tyre tests. Teams are banned from testing new aero components or running performance evaluations. But there's one thing they can do: run the engine, in real conditions, for as long as they want. And that's exactly what Ferrari needed. The SF26's energy management system, the software that decides when to harvest electrical energy, how to deploy it, and at what rate, behaves completely differently on a wet, low-grip surface. The car is sliding. Brake inputs are unpredictable. The driver is managing grip instead of chasing lap time. You simply cannot replicate that in a simulator. 884 kilometers of that data, that's gold. Because Ferrari is bringing a completely revised energy management software package to Miami, new algorithms, new harvesting strategies. And before that software goes racing, it needs real-world validation. Fiorano was that validation. Now here's a detail almost everyone missed. Hamilton's fastest lap improved from day 1 to day 2, from a 1001.031 to a 1000.740. On a track that stayed consistently wet throughout, because Fiorano's built-in irrigation system kept it that way. So why did the lap time drop? The track didn't change, the tyres didn't suddenly transform. The engineers were adjusting something between sessions, and Hamilton was validating those changes with his times, in real time, on track. That's not tyre testing, that's software development at 200 kilometers an hour. And by the end of day 2, Ferrari had 29.7 laps of evidence about exactly how their revised energy management approach performs when a 7-time world champion is pushing it to the absolute limit. But why Hamilton specifically? Pirelli requested the same driver for both days. They said it was for consistency. Same hands, same inputs, cleaner data comparison. Fair enough. But there's another reason Ferrari were more than happy to agree. Hamilton has driven more different power unit systems than any active driver on the grid. 12 years at Mercedes, now Ferrari. He doesn't just read telemetry, he feels the system. He can tell engineers exactly where the power curve drops unexpectedly, where the harvesting intervention feels intrusive, where the algorithm is fighting him instead of helping him. That kind of feedback can't be extracted from a datasheet. And that's exactly why 884 kilometers was worth more than half that distance would have been. Meanwhile, Leclerc wasn't wasting time either. While Hamilton was generating real-world data at Fiorano, Leclerc was feeding Ferrari's simulation models with the outputs from 3 races of actual energy management data: Melbourne, Shanghai, Suzuka. His job was to find the gaps between what the simulator predicted and what actually happened on track. One driver feeds the data in, the other validates the model. 2 halves of the same program. And this is where it all connects. Ferrari has a filming day booked at Monza on April 22nd. Officially 200 kilometers of promotional running. But Monza is one of the most demanding circuits on the calendar for energy management. Long, flat-out straights, minimal heavy braking, sustained high-speed sections. If the new software holds up at Monza, it'll hold up anywhere. Both Hamilton and Leclerc will share driving duties that day. Comparative data. 2 different driving styles, 1 revised software package, and the Macarena rear wing, Ferrari's rotating wing system that promises up to 10 km per hour of straight-line gain, will also make its return at Monza. The first version failed at Shanghai when a timing mismatch with the front wing sent Hamilton spinning at turn 6. The updated version needs to be proven under Monza's heavy braking before Ferrari will risk it in a race. Monza on April 22nd isn't a filming day, it's a final exam. And Fiorano was the revision session. Here's the bigger picture. Ferrari sits 45 points behind Mercedes in the Constructors' Championship. They can't close that gap with a hardware breakthrough in 4 weeks. But software can be rewritten, algorithms can be refined, energy deployment can be optimized, and that's exactly what 884 kilometers at Fiorano was designed to move forward. No other team on the grid has run 3 separate on-track programs during this April break. Ferrari had development drivers at Mugello earlier in the window, Hamilton at Fiorano. And now Monza coming up on the 22nd. While everyone else was watching, Ferrari was working. It was officially a tyre test. Pirelli got their data, Hamilton got 297 laps. And Ferrari got something far more valuable, a real-world blueprint for unlocking the SF26's true potential, just in time for Miami. The question was never whether Ferrari could build a faster car. The question is whether they can finally unlock the one they already have. Miami on May 1st is where we find out. Drop your prediction in the comments. Does Ferrari close the gap at Miami, or does Mercedes hold them off? And if you want full coverage of the Monza filming day on April 22nd, make sure you're subscribed. You won't want to miss what comes next.